I found the hotel receipt in her gym bag while looking for my wireless earbuds. Tuesday, March 14th. The Riverside Inn. Room 237. $418 charged to our joint credit card. I was home with our daughter that night. Emma had a fever of 102, and I'd called my wife Rachel 3 times asking when she'd be back from her supposed client dinner. She finally stumbled in at 11:47 p.m., makeup smudged, blaming traffic and a long presentation. My hands didn't shake as I photographed the receipt. They didn't shake when I logged into our credit card account and found 6 more charges at the same hotel over the past 2 months. They didn't shake when I cross-referenced the dates with her calendar and found late meeting with Anderson Group or drinks with the team penciled in for each one. I sat in our home office at 2:13 a.m., the blue light from my monitor washing over me like cold water. Rachel was asleep upstairs in our bed, probably dreaming innocent dreams. Our daughter Emma was 7 years old. We'd been married for 9 years. I'd built my software consulting business from the ground up, while Rachel climbed the corporate ladder at Brennan Financial. We were supposed to be partners. The joint credit card was my first mistake. The second was trusting without question. I wouldn't make a third. By dawn, I had printed every statement from the past 6 months. The Riverside Inn charges formed a pattern, always on Tuesdays or Thursdays, always between 6 p.m. and midnight. But there were other things too. Charges at Bruno's Steakhouse, an expensive Italian place downtown. Victoria's Secret purchases I'd never seen her wear. A jewelry store charge for $847. That definitely wasn't the watch she'd given me for my birthday. I heard her alarm go off upstairs at 6:30. The shower started running. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table with the printed statements in a folder, face down. Normal. Everything had to look normal. "Morning," Rachel said, breezing into the kitchen in her navy business suit. She kissed the top of my head absently. "Is Emma feeling better?" "Fever broke around 4, I said. "She's still sleeping." "Good. I've got back-to-back meetings today. Probably won't be home until 7. She poured coffee into her travel mug. "Oh, and I might need to work late tomorrow. The Anderson Group presentation is this week." Anderson Group. I'd heard that name so many times. I wondered if it was even real. "Sure," I said. "No problem." She grabbed her bag and keys. "You're the best. Love you." The door closed behind her. I waited until her car pulled out of the driveway before I moved. My best friend from college, Tyler Brooks, was a private investigator now. We'd played basketball together at State, stayed close even after he dropped out junior year to join the military. He'd done 2 tours overseas, came back different, quieter. Started his own investigation firm 5 years ago. I called him at 7:02 a.m. "Jake," he answered. "Little early for you." "I need your help," I said. "Professional help." There was a pause. "What kind of situation are we talking about?" "The kind where I need to know the truth before I make any decisions." Another pause. "Your place or mine?" "Yours. Give me an hour." I checked on Emma, still sleeping peacefully, and texted my sister Nicole to come watch her. Nicole lived 15 minutes away and worked from home as a graphic designer. She'd always been reliable, always been there when I needed her. Tyler's office was in a converted warehouse downtown, 3rd floor, no sign on the door. Just a number, 314. I knocked twice. He looked the same as always, buzzed hair going gray at the temples, lean and hard like a knife. His handshake was firm. "Talk to me," he said, gesturing to a chair across from his desk. I laid out everything: the hotel receipts, the credit card charges, the pattern of late nights and client dinners. He listened without interrupting, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. "You want surveillance," he said when I finished. "I want proof. Real, documented, undeniable proof. For divorce proceedings. For whatever comes next." He nodded slowly. I charge $150 an hour plus expenses. Surveillance like this, we're probably looking at 40 to 60 hours minimum to establish a solid pattern. Could be more. Money isn't an issue. It's going to hurt, he said. Seeing it. Knowing it. That's different from suspecting it. I already know, I said. I just need everyone else to know too. Tyler tapped his pen against the pad. Okay, I'll need her schedule, her car description, license plate, recent photo. I'll start tomorrow. She said she's working late tomorrow. Anderson Group presentation. Then that's where we'll start. He leaned back in his chair. Jake, I gotta ask. You sure about this? Once we go down this road, there's no going back. Maybe there's an explanation. There's 6 hotel receipts, I said. All at the same place. All charged to our joint account. What explanation covers that? He didn't have an answer. I drove home in silence, my mind already 3 steps ahead. Evidence, documentation, timeline. I needed everything airtight. Rachel worked in finance. She was smart, detail-oriented, careful. But she'd gotten sloppy, comfortable. She'd used our joint card because she thought I'd never check. That was her mistake. Nicole was in the kitchen making pancakes when I got back. Emma sat at the table in her pajamas, looking better but still pale. Daddy, she said, Aunt Nicole is making chocolate chip pancakes. I kissed her forehead. Feeling better, sweetheart? Uh-huh. Can I stay home from school? 1 more day, I said. Then back to normal. Normal. I wondered what that word would mean a month from now. The letter arrived on Thursday afternoon, mixed in with the usual junk mail and bills. I might have tossed it with the credit card offers and grocery store circulars, if not for the embossed logo at the top. The Riverside Inn. My hands didn't shake as I opened it. Dear Ms. Rachel Donovan, thank you for being a valued repeat guest at the Riverside Inn. Your loyalty means everything to us, and we're pleased to offer you an exclusive 15% discount on your next stay as a token of our appreciation. We look forward to welcoming you back soon. I read it twice. 3 times. Ms. Rachel Donovan. Her maiden name. The reservation had been in her maiden name. I set the letter on the kitchen counter and pulled out my phone. Tyler answered on the second ring. Found something, I said. I'm listening. Hotel sent a loyalty letter, thanking her for repeat visits, offering a discount. How many visits? Doesn't say, just valued repeat guest. I looked at the letter again, at the cheerful corporate language that felt like broken glass in my throat. The reservation's in her maiden name, Donovan. Tyler was quiet for a moment. Smart. Harder to track if someone's just checking credit cards under your married name. I checked our joint cards, found 6 visits. Could be more on a card you don't know about. I hadn't thought of that. The kitchen felt smaller suddenly, the afternoon light through the window too bright. The surveillance, I said. Tomorrow night. She mentioned Tuesday was her next late meeting. I'll be ready, same as we discussed. Photos, video if possible, documentation of who she meets and where they go. And if they go to the hotel, then I follow them in. Get what you need. What I needed. I wasn't sure anymore what that was, beyond proof so solid that no one could deny it. Not a lawyer, not a judge, not Rachel herself when the time came. Send me that letter, Tyler said. Photo's fine. I want it in the file. I took the picture and sent it while we were still on the phone. Heard the ping of receipt on his end. Got it? Jake? This is good documentation. Shows pattern of behavior, premeditation. Using her maiden name isn't an accident. No, I said. It's not. After we hung up, I stood in the kitchen holding the letter. Upstairs, I could hear Emma playing in her room, talking to her stuffed animals in that serious voice she used when she was making them have conversations. Normal sounds, normal afternoon. I folded the letter and put it in my office, in the folder with everything else. The receipts, the printed credit card statements, the notes I'd made about dates and times and charges. It was getting thick now, that folder. Heavy with evidence. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Running late, meeting went long. Home by 7. I checked the time. 4:47 p.m. That gave me 2 hours. No problem? Want me to start dinner? That would be great. Love you? I stared at those last 2 words until the screen went dark. Rachel came home at 7:14, carrying her laptop bag and looking tired. She kissed Emma, asked about her day, poured herself a glass of wine from the bottle in the fridge. I watched her move through the kitchen, noticed the way she checked her phone twice while we ate the pasta I'd made, the way her attention seemed somewhere else. How was the meeting? I asked. Long, tedious. She twirled pasta on her fork without eating it. Anderson Group wants to restructure their portfolio. Means more work for us. When's your next session with them? Tuesday, probably another late night. She finally took a bite, chewed, swallowed. I hate these extended meetings, but it's a big account. I understand. And I did. I understood exactly what Tuesday meant now. What late meeting translated to. I understood the careful way she maintained the lie, the ease with which she said it while looking right at me. Emma talked about school, about the art project they were starting, about how her friend Madison had brought cupcakes for her birthday. Rachel smiled and asked questions and seemed present, but I caught her checking her phone again when Emma went to get her backpack to show us a drawing. Everything okay? I asked. What? Yes, just work stuff. She set the phone face down on the table. This Anderson deal has everyone stressed. I nodded. Took another bite of pasta that tasted like cardboard. After dinner, after Emma's bath and bedtime story, after Rachel had settled in the living room with her laptop and another glass of wine, I went to my office and opened the folder again. 6 hotel visits. At least 6. Tyler was right. There could be more on a card I didn't know about. A personal card, maybe one she'd opened specifically for this. The thought made my chest tight. I pulled up our bank statements on my computer, looking for cash withdrawals that seemed unusual. Found 3 over the past 2 months, each for $300, all from the ATM near her office. Cash was harder to track, smarter. I added the dates to my notes, checked them against the hotel visits. 2 of the cash withdrawals were the day before hotel charges appeared. Preparation, planning. My phone buzzed. Tyler. Tomorrow, 6 p.m., I'll be in position outside her office. Text me when she leaves work. Will do. And Jake. Don't call or text her tomorrow night. Let her think everything's normal. If she's meeting someone, we don't want anything that might spook her. Understood. I set the phone down and looked at the letter again, still sitting on top of the pile. Valued repeat guest. The hotel probably sent these automatically, generated by whatever system tracked customer visits. Some algorithm had flagged Rachel's account, noticed the pattern, triggered the loyalty discount. They had no idea what they'd exposed. Friday passed in a blur of normal. I worked from home, took calls with clients, wrote code that I'd probably have to review later because I couldn't focus. Emma had a half day at school. I picked her up at noon, took her for ice cream, listened to her talk about the spelling test she'd aced and the game they'd played at recess. Normal. Everything had to stay normal. Rachel texted at 3:30. Busy day. Might work from office for a bit after 5. Home by 8? Not tomorrow. Tonight. She was changing the schedule. I called Tyler. She's moving it up, I said. Tonight instead of Tuesday. I can be ready. Give me an hour to get in position. She said she'd be home by 8. That gives you, I checked the time, 4.5 hours. Plenty of time. Same plan. You stay home with Emma, don't contact Rachel, let me work. After we hung up, I texted Rachel back. Sounds good. See you tonight. She sent back a heart emoji. I made Emma dinner at 5:30, chicken nuggets and apple slices, her favorite. Watched a movie with her on the couch, some animated thing about talking animals that I couldn't follow because my mind was across town, watching Tyler watch Rachel. At 6:04, Tyler texted, "In position. Silver Lexus in the parking garage, correct?" "Correct. Copy that." Emma fell asleep against my shoulder halfway through the movie. I carried her upstairs, tucked her in, stood in her doorway for a moment watching her breathe. 7 years old. Too young to understand what was coming, what her life was about to become. I went back downstairs, sat in the dark living room with my phone in my hand. At 6:47, Tyler sent a photo. Rachel walking out of her office building, still in her navy business suit, carrying her laptop bag. The image was sharp, professional. She was looking at her phone, smiling at something on the screen. At 7:02, another photo. Rachel's car pulling into the parking lot of Bruno's Steakhouse, the same restaurant from the credit card statements. $287 on March 14th, $312 on March 28th. At 7:15, a third photo. Rachel wasn't alone anymore. My phone buzzed again at 7:43 p.m. Tyler. Subject just ordered wine. Looks settled in for a while. I was sitting on the floor of Emma's room, half watching her arrange her stuffed animals in some elaborate scenario involving a bear, 2 rabbits, and what she called the emergency council. The normalcy of it felt like glass in my throat. "Daddy, you're not paying attention." "Sorry, sweetheart. What did the emergency council decide?" She gave me a look that said she knew I was lying but was willing to let it slide. "They decided that Mr. Hopscotch gets to be mayor because he has the best ideas about carrots." "That's very democratic of them." My phone buzzed again. Tyler. Got him. White male, late 30s, dark suit. They're sitting close, very familiar body language. Then another message, 3 seconds later. Tyler. Sending photo now. I waited. Emma was explaining the rabbit's economic policy. The phone vibrated in my hand. I opened the image. The photo showed Rachel from behind, her hair down the way she used to wear it when we were dating. Across from her sat a man I'd never seen before. Dark hair, expensive suit, the kind of sharp jaw that probably photographed well. He was leaning forward, saying something that made Rachel smile. I recognized that smile. I'd seen it 1,000 times in the early years. I hadn't seen it in months. Tyler. Want me to try for a face shot? I typed back, yes, and the car, if you can. Emma tugged at my sleeve. Daddy, you're doing it again. Sorry. I put the phone face down on the carpet. Tell me more about the mayor's carrot policy. She launched into an explanation that involved trade agreements with the stuffed dog community. I nodded in the right places. Made the appropriate sounds of interest. Inside, I was calculating. Late 30s, dark suit, familiar body language. Someone from work, probably. Someone she saw every day. Someone she'd been lying about while I made dinner and helped Emma with homework and believed every word about the Anderson group and their demanding timeline. My phone buzzed twice more, but I didn't check it until Emma's bedtime routine was finished. Teeth brushed, pajamas on, 3 stories read in the voices she liked. I tucked her in at 8:47 p.m. and kissed her forehead. Love you, Daddy. Love you too, sweetheart. I closed her door and pulled out my phone in the hallway. Tyler had sent 2 more photos. The first was a clear shot of the man's face. Handsome in that corporate way, confident smile, expensive watch visible on his wrist. The second showed them leaving the restaurant together. Rachel's hand was on his arm. Tyler. They're heading to parking garage. Stand by. I went downstairs to my office and pulled up the credit card statements again. Bruno's Steakhouse appeared 3 times in the past 2 months, always on Tuesday nights. Always charged to our card for amounts between $180 and $240. I'd assumed those were her client dinners. My phone rang. Tyler. Talk to me, I said. They left in separate cars. She's heading east on Riverside. Want me to follow her or him? Him. I need to know who he is. Copy that. Tyler hung up. I sat in the blue light from my monitor and waited. Rachel would be home in 20 minutes if she came straight back. I needed to look normal. Needed to be downstairs, maybe watching TV, maybe working on something harmless. I pulled up a project file and stared at code I'd written last week. The words didn't make sense. My phone buzzed. Tyler. Subject heading north on Highway 9. Staying on him. I checked the time. 9:03 p.m. Rachel's car would be pulling into the garage any minute. I heard it at 9:11 p.m. The familiar sound of the garage door, her Lexus pulling in, the engine cutting off. I kept my eyes on my monitor, on code I wasn't reading. Her footsteps came through the kitchen. I heard her set down her bag, heard the refrigerator open and close. Jake? In here. She appeared in the doorway of my office, still in her navy suit, hair slightly mussed. She looked tired. She looked beautiful. She looked like a stranger. How was your day? She asked. Fine. Finished the Peterson project. You? Long. She leaned against the doorframe. The client meeting ran late. I'm exhausted. I bet. I gestured at my screen. Just wrapping up some documentation. Emma's asleep. I'll go check on her. She disappeared upstairs. I heard her footsteps above me, the soft creak of Emma's door opening and closing. My phone buzzed. Tyler. Subject pulled into apartment complex on Northwood Drive. Building 7, Unit 312. Ran the plates. Car is registered to David Fleming, age 38. Works at Brennan Financial. Senior VP of Operations. I read the message 3 times. David Fleming. Senior VP. Same company where Rachel worked. I typed. How senior? Tyler. Lookin' now. Stand by. Rachel came back downstairs at 9:24 p.m. She'd changed into yoga pants and an old college sweatshirt. The transformation from corporate professional to suburban wife took less than 10 minutes. Want some tea? She asked. I'm good. She went to the kitchen anyway. I heard the kettle fill, the click of the stove igniting. She came back with her mug and sat on the couch in the living room, visible through the open door of my office. How was Emma tonight? Good. The stuffed animals elected a new mayor. She smiled, but it was distant, distracted. That's nice. My phone buzzed. Tyler. Fleming reports directly to CEO. He's Rachel's boss's boss, maybe higher. This guy has serious pull in the company. I stared at the message. Her boss's boss, maybe higher. The implications arranged themselves in neat rows. Rachel's recent promotion 6 months ago. Her new responsibilities. The Anderson Group project that demanded so much of her time. My phone buzzed again. Tyler. Digging deeper. We'll send full background by morning. You want me to stay on him? I typed. No, good work tonight. Send me everything you have. Tyler. Will do. Sorry, man. I set the phone down and looked at Rachel through the doorway. She was scrolling through her phone, sipping tea, looking like every other tired professional at the end of a long day. I'm thinking of taking Emma to the Science Museum this weekend, I said. Rachel looked up. That sounds nice. Want to come? I have to work Saturday. The Anderson Group needs revisions on the quarterly projections. Right. The Anderson Group. If she heard anything in my tone, she didn't show it. It should wrap up soon, maybe another month. That's good. She went back to her phone. I went back to my screen. We sat in our separate rooms, separated by 15 feet and a chasm neither of us acknowledged. My phone buzzed at 9:47 p.m. Tyler had sent a file. I opened it. David Fleming. age 38, Senior Vice President of Operations at Brennan Financial. Divorced 2 years ago. No children. Lived alone in a luxury apartment complex on Northwood Drive. Drove a black BMW 7 Series. Made approximately $340,000 a year based on public filings. There were photos. Fleming at company events. Fleming giving presentations. Fleming shaking hands with the CEO. In one photo from a corporate holiday party last December, Rachel stood 3 people away from him, both of them holding champagne glasses, both of them smiling at something off camera. I zoomed in on her face. She was wearing the diamond earrings I'd given her for our anniversary. Tyler had included one more item, a screenshot from Brennan Financial's organizational chart. Rachel's position sat 4 levels below David Fleming's. The reporting structure showed a clear chain of command. Dating a subordinate was probably against company policy. Maybe not explicitly forbidden for someone at Fleming's level, but definitely frowned upon. Definitely the kind of thing that could complicate careers. Definitely the kind of thing worth hiding. I saved everything to my encrypted folder, added it to the documentation that now filled 63 pages. Receipts, statements, photos, timelines, license plate numbers, addresses, evidence. Rachel went upstairs at 10:15 p.m. I heard the shower run, heard her moving around our bedroom. I stayed in my office until 11:30, organizing files, cross-referencing dates, building the timeline that would matter when this all came apart. When I finally went upstairs, she was already asleep. Or pretending to be. I lay in the dark and thought about David Fleming's expensive watch and confident smile. Thought about Rachel's hand on his arm. Thought about the way she'd looked at him across the table at Bruno's Steakhouse. My phone buzzed one last time. Tyler. Tyler. Get some sleep. We'll talk tomorrow. I didn't sleep. I lay there calculating what came next. The coffee had gone cold 2 hours ago. I sat at my desk, the glow of the monitor washing everything in pale blue light, and studied the photographs Tyler had uploaded to the secure server. 23 images total. Rachel in the navy suit I'd watched her put on that morning. Fleming holding the door for her at Bruno's. The two of them at a corner table, his hand covering hers. Rachel laughing at something he'd said, her head tilted back in a way I recognized, used to recognize when she laughed like that with me. I'd looked at them so many times I'd memorized the details. The wine bottle on their table, the bread basket, the way Fleming's jacket hung on the back of his chair. Everything sharp and clear and impossible to deny. My phone buzzed. Tyler. You still up? Yeah. Thought you might be. Listen, I did some more digging on Fleming. Found his divorce records, public information, filed in county court 3 years ago. I waited. Wife cited adultery. Named a woman who worked under him at his previous company. Settlement was messy. She got the house, primary custody of their 2 kids, and a chunk of his retirement accounts. He has kids? Daughter, 15. Son, 12. Sees them every other weekend according to the custody arrangement. I thought about Emma asleep upstairs. 7 years old. She'd asked me tonight why Mommy was always so tired, why she didn't read bedtime stories anymore. I'd told her Mommy had an important project at work. The lie had come easily, too easily. So he's done this before, I said. Looks that way. The woman from his old company, Jessica Porter, she was a marketing associate, 26 at the time. He was her direct supervisor. Same pattern, Tyler agreed. Guy's got a type. Young, ambitious, works for him. Rachel fits the profile. I pulled up the organizational chart I'd found on Brennan Financial's website. Fleming sat 4 levels above Rachel's position. Director of Strategic Initiatives, reporting to Vice President of Operations, reporting to Senior Vice President of Corporate Development, reporting to Executive Vice President. And that was Fleming. The chain of command was clear. Unambiguous. The company has to have policies about this, I said. They do. I checked. Brennan Financial has a strict fraternization policy. Any romantic relationship between employees at different levels of authority has to be disclosed to HR within 10 business days. Failure to disclose is grounds for termination. Both employees? Both employees. Though in practice, the senior person usually takes the bigger hit. Company wants to avoid the appearance of favoritism, quid pro quo, sexual harassment claims, all the legal exposure that comes with undisclosed relationships. I thought about Rachel's promotion. 3 months ago, from Associate Director to Director of Strategic Initiatives, a $15,000 salary increase, new office with a window. She'd come home with champagne, excited in a way I hadn't seen in months. We'd celebrated. I'd been proud of her. When did the hotel visit start? I asked. First charge on your credit card was January 19th, 2 months ago. Her promotion was announced January 5th. Tyler was quiet for a moment. Could be coincidence. Could be. But probably isn't. No, I said. Probably isn't. I heard him exhale. Jake, I need to tell you something. This gets complicated when workplace relationships are involved. If you're thinking about using this information, if you're planning to report them to the company, you need to be careful. Rachel could lose her job, so could Fleming. And if that happens before you file for divorce, it affects the financial picture. How? Her income drops to zero. Child support and alimony calculations are based on current earnings. You want her employed when the divorce goes through, keeps her contribution to Emma's expenses higher, reduces what you'd potentially owe in spousal support. I hadn't thought about that. Hadn't thought past the immediate need to document, to know, to have proof. What are you saying? I'm saying timing matters. You report them now, Rachel's unemployed. You file for divorce with her unemployed, the court sees her as having no income. You end up paying more. You wait until after the divorce is final, you've locked in the financial arrangements based on her current salary. And then report them. And then do whatever you want with the information. I looked at the photographs again. Rachel's hand under Fleming's. The intimate lean of her body toward his. The smile I didn't recognize anymore. I need more, I said. More what? More evidence, more documentation. I need to know how long this has really been going on. The credit card only shows 2 months, but that loyalty letter from the hotel, they don't send those after 6 visits. That's a year's worth of stays, maybe more. You think she has another credit card? I know she does. Has to. The hotel is using her maiden name, Donovan. She's been planning this, keeping it separate. There's money somewhere I haven't found yet. Tyler was quiet. Then, I can pull credit reports. See what accounts are in her name, what you might not know about. It's not strictly legal, but do it. Okay, give me a couple days. In the meantime, I'm going to keep the surveillance going. She's got another conference scheduled for Tuesday, right? I pulled up the calendar Rachel had left on the kitchen counter. Her handwriting, neat and precise. Tuesday, March 21st. Anderson Group presentation, 6 to 9 p.m. Tuesday, I confirmed. 6 to 9. I'll be there. Bruno's first, then the hotel if they follow the same pattern. You want video this time? Can you get it? I can get it. Might cost extra. Need to rent better equipment. Something with good low-light capability. Figure another $500. Do it. We hung up. I sat in the dark office, the house silent around me, except for the hum of the computer fan. It was 1:23 a.m. In 6 hours, Rachel's alarm would go off. She'd shower, dress, put on the face she showed the world. Kiss Emma, goodbye. Kiss me, goodbye. Drive to Brennan Financial and sit in her office with the window and pretend everything was normal. I wondered if Fleming's office was near hers. Wondered if they passed each other in the hallways, exchanged careful professional nods, Saved their smiles for Bruno's Steakhouse in room 237 at the Riverside Inn. My phone buzzed again. Email notification. I opened it. Tyler had sent a preliminary report, 3 pages of background on David Fleming. Education, MBA from Northwestern. Career history, 15 years in corporate finance, steady climb up the ladder. Previous employer, Castillo and Hale Investments. Reason for leaving, undisclosed, but the timeline matched his divorce. The report included his current address, vehicle registration, even his gym membership. Tyler was thorough. Had always been thorough, even back in college when he'd helped me debug code at 3 in the morning, finding the errors I'd missed. I scrolled to the end. Tyler had included a note. Found something interesting. Fleming's ex-wife, Patricia, still lives in the area. Remarried last year to a guy named Robert Patel. No, wait, scratch that. Robert Parker. Kept Fleming's name for the kids' sake, but moved on. Might be worth talking to her if you want to know what you're dealing with. Women who've been through it before usually have insights. Let me know. I stared at the name. Patricia Fleming. A woman who discovered her husband's affair, fought through a divorce, rebuilt her life. Someone who knew exactly what David Fleming was capable of. The idea settled in my mind, cold and clear. I typed a response. Get me her contact information. The reply came back in 30 seconds. Already on it. I closed the laptop. Upstairs, Emma's nightlight glowed under her door. The turtle that projected stars on her ceiling. The one Rachel had bought her for her 5th birthday. 2 years ago. Back when Rachel still came home at reasonable hours, still read bedtime stories, still laughed at my jokes over dinner. I wondered when it had started to change. Wondered if there'd been a specific moment, a choice Rachel had made, or if it had been gradual, a slow drift away from us toward whatever Fleming offered. Didn't matter now. What mattered was documentation, evidence, the methodical construction of an unassailable case. I walked upstairs, careful to avoid the 3rd step that creaked. Rachel's breathing was steady, and even from our bedroom. I stood in the doorway watching her sleep. She lay on her side, facing away from my side of the bed, the covers pulled up to her shoulder. In 3 days, Tyler would have video. In a week, maybe less, I'd know about the hidden credit cards, the full scope of the deception. And then I'd have choices to make about timing, about when to act and how to ensure that when everything fell apart, Emma and I would be protected. I got into bed. Rachel didn't stir. The clock on the nightstand read 1:47 a.m. I closed my eyes and waited for morning. The letter sat on my desk like evidence at a crime scene. Premium paper stock, embossed hotel logo, Rachel's maiden name printed in elegant serif font. I photographed it from 3 angles before sliding it into a manila folder with the rest. Tuesday morning, 8:47 a.m. Rachel had left for work 40 minutes ago with Emma, in tow for school drop-off. The house felt hollow without them, every sound magnified. The hum of the refrigerator, the tick of the hallway clock, the creak of floorboards under my feet. I called Tyler. Got something, I said when he picked up. Talk to me. Hotel sent a loyalty letter. Thanks her for being a repeat guest. Offers a discount on her next visit. A pause. How many visits does it say? Doesn't specify. Just calls her a valued returning guest and mentions their appreciation for her continued patronage. When's it dated? I checked. Yesterday, postmarked Friday. So they're still planning to go back, Tyler said. That's useful. Means the affair's ongoing, not something that ended. I already knew that. The credit card showed charges as recent as last Thursday. But hearing Tyler confirm it made something tighten in my chest. There's more, I said. Letters addressed to Ms. Rachel Donovan, her maiden name. She's using her maiden name for the reservation? Looks like it. Tyler was quiet for a moment. Smart. Makes it harder to connect her to you if anyone sees the registry. Also means she's thinking about this, planning it. This isn't some impulsive thing. I'd already reached that conclusion. The cash withdrawals, the timing, the consistent pattern. Rachel had built a system, infrastructure for deception. I'm going to the hotel, I said. Jake, not to confront anyone, just to look around, see what I'm dealing with. Bad idea, Tyler said flatly. You go there, you risk being seen. Employee mentions it to your wife next time she checks in. Whole thing blows up before you're ready. I'll be careful. Careful doesn't matter. It's a small hotel, not some massive chain. Staff knows their regulars. You walk in asking questions, they'll remember you. He was right. I knew he was right. But sitting in my office surrounded by evidence while Rachel carried on like nothing was wrong made my skin crawl. Then what do you suggest? Let me handle it, Tyler said. I can send someone in, pose as a guest, ask around, maybe slip the front desk clerk some cash for information. Find out how many times she's actually been there. How long will that take? Day or two. I've got a woman who does this kind of work. Friendly face, good at getting people to talk. She can go in this afternoon, stay a night, chat up the staff. I looked at the letter again. The hotel logo showed a Victorian building with wraparound porches and river views. Boutique place. Romantic. The kind of spot Rachel and I had talked about visiting for our anniversary. We'd never gone. Do it, I said. I'll call you tonight with an update. After we hung up, I sat at my desk and stared at the growing pile of documentation. Receipts, bank statements, printed emails, photographs. Tyler's surveillance reports. The loyalty letter. Everything organized chronologically in clear plastic sleeves inside a 3-ring binder. My phone buzzed. Text from Rachel. Forgot to mention, late meeting tonight. Won't be home until 8:30 or 9. Can you handle dinner for Emma? I read it twice. Checked the calendar on my phone. Tuesday. Her pattern held. No problem, I typed back. What's the meeting about? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Budget review for Q2. Probably going to run long. I wondered if Fleming would be there. Wondered if they'd go to the hotel after, or if Tuesday was just drinks and dinner. The credit card charges suggested Thursdays were hotel nights, but I didn't have complete data. Could be she had another card I hadn't found yet. Okay, I sent. Good luck. Thanks. Love you. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. 2 words. 8 letters. I'd typed them thousands of times over 9 years. Love you too, I sent. The lie felt like ash in my mouth. I picked Emma up from school at 3:15. She bounded out of the building with her backpack bouncing, pigtails flying, talking before she even reached the car. Dad, guess what? Mrs. Patterson said my drawing was the best in the whole class and she's going to hang it in the hallway for everyone to see. That's great, sweetheart. I helped her into her booster seat. What did you draw? Our family. You and Mom and me at the beach. Remember when we went last summer? I remember. Can we go again this summer? I pulled out of the parking lot, watching other families in my peripheral vision. Other fathers picking up their kids. Other marriages that might be fine or might be falling apart behind closed doors. We'll see, I said. At home, I made mac and cheese from a box, while Emma did homework at the kitchen table. Simple math problems, addition and subtraction, problems with clear answers. Where's Mom? She asked around a mouthful of pasta. Working late. She'll be home after bedtime. Again? Yeah, Emma frowned. She's always working late now. I kept my voice level. She's got a lot of responsibility at her job. I miss her. Something cracked in my chest, but I didn't let it show on my face. I know, honey. She misses you too. Did she? I honestly didn't know anymore. When Rachel looked at Emma, was she thinking about her daughter or calculating how much time she had before she needed to leave for another meeting? My phone buzzed. Tyler. Got my associate heading to the hotel now. Should have preliminary info by tonight. I deleted the message and slipped the phone back in my pocket. Dad? Emma was watching me. Are you okay? I'm fine. Why? You look sad. I managed to smile. Just tired. Work stuff. Nothing for you to worry about. She accepted this and went back to her homework. Kids were resilient that way. They believed what you told them because they didn't know yet that adults lied. I wondered how long that would last. How long before she was old enough to understand what her mother had done? What it meant? How it would reshape her understanding of family and trust and love? Not yet. Not for a long time, if I could help it. Tyler called at 10:37 p.m. I was in my office with the door closed, papers spread across my desk, building a timeline. My associate checked in around 5, he said without preamble. Chatted with the front desk clerk. Young guy, early 20s, talkative. She mentioned she was thinking of bringing her boyfriend there for their anniversary. Asked if it was a romantic spot. And? Guy lit up. Started telling her all about their repeat guests, how they get couples coming back for special occasions. Then he mentioned they've got several regulars who come monthly. Said it with a wink. My jaw tightened. He say anything specific about Rachel? Not by name, but my associate described her. Brunette, professional, late 30s. Asked if he'd seen anyone like that. He got cagey then, said he couldn't discuss specific guests. So he recognized the description. Yeah, which means she's been there enough times for the staff to remember her. I wrote this down, added it to the timeline. My associate's staying the night, Tyler continued. Going to try the restaurant, see if she can get anything from the waitstaff. Sometimes they're more talkative than front desk. Good. Jake, Tyler's voice shifted. You doing okay? I'm fine. You don't sound fine. I looked at the timeline. 2 months of documented deception. Probably longer if I could access whatever other accounts Rachel was hiding. I'm holding it together, I said. You need to talk. I'm here. Doesn't have to be about the case, just, if you need it. I know, thanks. After we hung up, I sat in the blue glow of my monitor and added the new information to my files. The binder was getting thick, heavy with evidence. My phone showed 11:04 p.m. Rachel still wasn't home. I pulled up the credit card account, logged in, checked recent activity. There it was. Posted 20 minutes ago. Bruno's Steakhouse. 183.47. Dinner for 2. I took a screenshot, saved it to the encrypted folder on my laptop, and added it to the timeline. Then I closed everything, turned off the lights, and went upstairs. Rachel came home at 11:52. I heard her car in the driveway, the garage door opening, her heels on the kitchen tile. She moved quietly through the house, checking on Emma, I assumed, then came into our bedroom. I kept my breathing steady. Eyes closed. Body still. She undressed in the dark and slipped into bed beside me. Smelled like wine and perfume and something else. His cologne, maybe. Or just the particular scent of lies. Jake, she whispered. I didn't answer. She sighed softly and rolled over. Within minutes, her breathing evened out. She fell asleep easily, the way innocent people do. I lay awake until 2:30 a.m., staring at the ceiling, counting the days until I had everything I needed. The letter sat on my desk next to Tyler's surveillance photos. I'd read it 3 times now, each word sharpening the edge of what I already knew. Dear Ms. Donovan, thank you for being a valued repeat guest at the Riverside Inn. As a token of our appreciation for your loyalty, we're pleased to offer you 15% off your next stay. Rachel had never changed her reservation name, not once in 6 visits. Either she thought I'd never see the statements, or she'd gotten comfortable with the deception. I checked my watch. 9:47 a.m. Rachel was at work. Emma was at school. The house belonged to me, and the evidence I'd been collecting for the past week. My phone buzzed. Tyler. Got something, he said when I answered. Can you meet? When? Now works. Same place. I grabbed my keys. Tyler's office looked different in morning light. The windows I hadn't noticed during my evening visit showed a view of the industrial district, all concrete and steel. He was waiting with his laptop open and a manila folder on the desk. Fleming's credit card statements, he said without preamble. Took some work, but I've got a contact who owed me a favor. That legal? Gray area. Won't hold up in court, but it'll tell you what you're dealing with. He turned the laptop toward me. Look at the dates. I scanned the spreadsheet. Bruno's Steakhouse charges going back 7 months. The Riverside Inn charges matching the same pattern. Then, 9 months ago, different hotels. The Grandview. The Marriott downtown. The Courtyard. He's been paying, I said. For the first 3 months, yeah. Then the charges switched to your joint card. My guess? Rachel wanted to feel independent. Probably some argument about him treating her like he was buying her. But she kept seeing him. She kept seeing him, Tyler confirmed. And around the same time the charges moved to your card, she got promoted, January 15th. I sat back. So the affair started last summer. June, based on these charges. First dinner at Bruno's is June 8th. First hotel charge is June 10th. 9 months, not 2. 9 months of lies, of conferences that didn't exist, of late meetings that ended at the Riverside Inn. There's more, Tyler said. He opened the manila folder. I ran a deeper background on Fleming. His divorce was finalized 3 years ago, but the separation happened 4 years back. Court documents cite adultery with Amanda Peterson, who worked in his department at Brennan. She was 26, he was 34. Same pattern. Same pattern. Peterson left Brennan 6 months after the divorce went through. Took a job in Chicago. Fleming stayed, got promoted to senior VP 8 months later. Tyler pulled out another document. This is the interesting part. Peterson wasn't the first. Before her, there was Jennifer Hayes. Also worked under Fleming, also had an affair with him while he was married. Hayes left Brennan before Peterson, took a position in Boston. How many? That I can confirm? 2 before Rachel. But here's the thing. Both women left the company. Both relocated to different cities, and both signed NDAs as part of their severance packages. I stared at the documents. Brennan Financial knows. HR knows. Legal knows. They've been managing Fleming's behavior for years. My guess? They consider him too valuable to fire, so they pay off the women and move them out quietly. Rachel doesn't know about the others. Probably not. And she definitely doesn't know that's how it ends. Tyler leaned forward. She thinks she's different. She thinks the promotion means something. She thinks he's going to leave his life for her. Or maybe she's just enjoying the ride. Either way, she hasn't figured out that she's following a script Fleming's run twice before. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Working late tonight. Don't wait up. I showed Tyler. Tuesday, he said, checking his calendar. Bruno's at 7, hotel by 8:30. You want me there? Yeah? He nodded and closed the laptop. Jake, you need to think about endgame here. You've got enough for divorce. More than enough. The question is what else you want. What do you mean? Fleming's pattern shows Brennan protects him. They'll protect him this time too, which means Rachel's the one who'll take the fall. She reports the relationship. She's the one who gets the NDA and the severance package. She's the one who relocates. He paused. Unless you want something different. I want her to understand what she did. Revenge? Consequences. Tyler studied me for a moment. There's a difference between making sure she doesn't take you to the cleaners in divorce court and actively destroying her life. I need to know which one you're after. I thought about Emma, about the college fund I'd been building since she was born, about the house we'd bought together when Rachel was pregnant. I thought about 9 years of marriage and 9 months of lies. I want what's fair, I said. I want Emma protected. I want the assets split honestly, without Rachel hiding money or claiming she deserves more because of her career. And I want everyone who needs to know about the affair to know about it. Everyone? Her parents, my parents, our friends, and Brennan Financial's board of directors. Tyler's expression didn't change. The board's different. That's not about the divorce, that's about taking Fleming down. He's been doing this for years. Rachel's the third woman we know about. How many others? Probably more. Then someone needs to stop it. Agreed, but you need to be clear on why you're doing it. If it's about Rachel, about making her pay, that's one thing. If it's about Fleming, about stopping a pattern, that's different. Both are valid. Just know which one you're choosing. I looked at the documents spread across Tyler's desk. Amanda Peterson, 26 years old, relocated to Chicago. Jennifer Hayes, same story, different city. Rachel would be next if things followed Fleming's pattern. She'd get her NDA, her severance, her quiet exit. She'd move somewhere else and start over, and Fleming would find someone new. Unless I changed the pattern. Both, I said. I'm doing it for both reasons. Tyler nodded slowly. Then we need to be smarter about this. Brennan's legal team is good. They've buried this twice. We go after Fleming without the right approach. They'll bury it again, and you'll look like a vindictive ex-husband trying to sabotage his wife's career. What's the right approach? Documentation first. We need everything. Every hotel visit, every dinner, every text message if we can get them. Then we need testimony from Peterson and Hayes. If they're willing to break their NDAs, we've got a pattern of behavior that Brennan can't ignore. Will they talk? Maybe. Depends on how bitter they are, how much they gave up, whether they've moved on. He pulled out his phone. I can reach out through back channels, see if they're interested in revisiting what happened. But that takes time. How much time? Weeks, maybe a month. I thought about Rachel coming home tonight, kissing Emma goodnight, lying to my face about where she'd been. A month of that. 4 more weeks of pretending everything was normal. Do it, I said. Tyler made a note. In the meantime, you keep doing what you're doing. Normal routine, normal behavior. Let me handle the surveillance and the background work. You focus on protecting your assets and preparing for the divorce. I haven't talked to a lawyer yet. You should. Today, if possible. You need someone who understands high-asset divorce and infidelity cases. Someone who won't push you toward a quick settlement. He wrote a name on a Post-it note and handed it to me. Robert Keating. He's expensive, but he's good. Tell him I sent you. I pocketed the note. Anything else? Yeah. Start thinking about what you want custody to look like. Emma's 7, so the court will consider her preferences, but they'll mostly focus on stability and routine. Rachel's affair doesn't automatically disqualify her as a parent, but it shows judgment issues. Combined with the work travel she's been faking, you've got a case for primary custody. Primary custody. Emma living with me full-time, visiting Rachel on weekends. Or maybe the reverse. Either way, our family split down the middle, our daughter shuttled between 2 houses. I'll think about it, I said. I left Tyler's office at 11:23 a.m. The parking lot was empty except for my car and a delivery truck unloading pallets at the warehouse next door. Normal Tuesday morning in the industrial district. Normal day everywhere except in my life. I called Robert Keating from the car. His secretary said he had an opening at 2 o'clock. I took it. Then I drove home and started going through Rachel's office. The divorce was finalized on a Thursday in September, 6 months after I'd found that first hotel receipt. The judge signed the papers at 3:47 p.m. in a courtroom that smelled like floor polish and old wood. Rachel sat on the opposite side with her attorney, wearing the same navy suit she'd worn to meet Fleming. She didn't look at me. The settlement was everything Robert Keating had promised. Primary custody of Emma, with Rachel getting alternating weekends. The house stayed mine. I'd bought it before the marriage with money from my first software contract. Rachel kept her car and half the savings, minus what she'd spent on hotels and dinners that I'd documented down to the penny. No alimony. The judge had been clear about that when he'd reviewed the evidence. Fleming lost his job 3 weeks before the divorce hearing. The board of directors received a comprehensive file: Tyler's surveillance photos, the hotel receipts, testimonies from Amanda Peterson and Jennifer Hayes, who'd both been willing to talk once they learned they weren't alone. Brennan Financial's PR team called it a mutual separation and pursuit of other opportunities. The severance package kept Fleming quiet. He moved to Atlanta in August. Rachel was fired the same day. No severance, no NDA. Just a security escort to her desk and 30 minutes to pack her things. She'd violated company policy by not disclosing the relationship. The fact that Fleming had been her superior made it worse. HR's letter cited ethical violations and breach of professional conduct standards. She moved to an apartment across town, found a new job at a smaller firm for $30,000 less than she'd made at Brennan. Emma asked why Mommy lived somewhere else now, why we weren't a family anymore. I told her sometimes people make choices that change things, and those changes can't be undone. I didn't tell her about Fleming, didn't explain the hotels or the lies. She was 7. She'd learn the details eventually when she was older, when she asked harder questions. For now, she knew that Mommy and Daddy loved her, but couldn't live together anymore. Tyler closed his file on the case in October. His final invoice included a handwritten note. You did the right thing. The hard thing, but the right thing. I wasn't sure I believed him, but I paid the bill anyway. Emma adjusted better than I'd expected. She decorated her room at Rachel's apartment with drawings and picked out new curtains. She told me about the pancakes Rachel made on Sunday mornings, about the park near the apartment with the good swings. She seemed okay. Kids were resilient. I saw Rachel once after the divorce, at Emma's school play in November. We sat on opposite sides of the auditorium and clapped when Emma came on stage as a talking tree. Afterward, in the parking lot, Rachel approached me while Emma was getting her costume off. She seems happy, Rachel said. She is. I never wanted to hurt her. I looked at my ex-wife, at the woman I'd spent 9 years building a life with. She looked tired. Smaller somehow, like something essential had been carved out of her. But you did, I said. You hurt both of us. I know. Her voice was quiet. I'm sorry. For what it's worth. It wasn't worth much. Sorry didn't undo the lies or rebuild the trust or give Emma back the family she'd lost, but I nodded anyway, because what else was there to say? Emma ran up then, still wearing her tree costume, chattering about the applause and how she'd remembered all her lines. Rachel knelt down and hugged her, and for a moment they looked like any mother and daughter, happy and whole. Then Emma came to me, and I took her hand, and we walked to my car. Rachel drove away in the opposite direction. A year later, I was sitting in my office when Emma brought me a drawing she'd made at school. 2 houses, side by side. Stick figures in each one. Her teacher had assigned a project about family. That's you, she said, pointing to one house. And that's Mom. And that's me in the middle, because I go to both places. It's perfect, I said. Mrs. Patterson asked if I was sad about having 2 houses. What did you tell her? Emma shrugged. I said sometimes it's weird, but it's okay. You and Mom are happier now. That's what you told me, right? Right. She studied the drawing. Are you happier, Dad? I thought about the question. About the quiet house that was mine alone except for the weeks Emma stayed with me. About the absence of lies. The relief of knowing exactly where I stood. About the cost of that knowledge. "I'm better," I said. "Better is good enough?" She seemed satisfied with that. She hung the drawing on the refrigerator next to her spelling tests and soccer schedule, then went back to her homework. I stood in the kitchen and looked at her picture. 2 houses, 1 daughter. A family broken and rebuilt into something different. Not what I'd planned, not what I'd wanted, but honest, at least. Clean. The evidence binder sat in my office filing cabinet, tucked behind tax returns and insurance policies. I hadn't looked at it in months. Didn't need to anymore. The story it told was finished. What I'd learned, if anything, was this. Trust isn't something you give blindly. It's built through consistency, through 1,000 small choices that align with words. Rachel had made different choices. She'd built something else. A separate life with separate truths. And when those truths collided with ours, everything shattered. You can't unbreak what's broken. You can only decide what to do with the pieces. I chose to protect what mattered. Emma, the life I'd built, the future that belonged to us. I chose documentation over denial, action over hope. I chose to believe that some betrayals don't deserve forgiveness, and that walking away isn't the same as giving up. Rachel made her choices. I made mine. In the end, that's all any of us can do. Emma called from the living room, asking for help with her math homework. I closed the filing cabinet and went to her, leaving the past where it belonged, cataloged, finished, and filed away. We worked on fractions until dinner. She got most of them right. Outside, the October sun set early, painting the kitchen in amber light. The house was warm. Emma was laughing at something on her worksheet. The coffee maker burbled in the background. Normal sounds. Normal evening. It wasn't the life I'd imagined, but it was mine. Honest and hard-won and built on solid ground. That was enough.